Hello everybody, I'm back again, and in this video I'm going to show you how to align two files in order to line up previously translated segments, and then you are going to export those segments into what's called a translation memory. And we're going to do this in SDL Trados Studio 2015. In order to do this, we go to the home page where we are right now, and we're going to go up to this icon here where it says Align Documents. We're going to select Align Single Pair, and up comes a wizard that helps us go through the process. The first thing you have to do is to create a translation memory, and for the purposes of this demo I'm going to actually create a translation memory. Although if I had an existing translation memory, I could actually use this button and just add it. But for today, I'm going to create a translation memory, and I'm going to create a new file-based translation memory. This is the selection I would like you to make for the purpose of this class every time you create a translation memory. So we have to give it a name, and we're going to give it the name of Health and Exercise, and the languages are going to be French into English, and I have the habit of putting the language pair and also the ordering that language pair according to the direction, and in this case it's going to be French into English. The other choice you have to make here is where are you going to put your translation memory. And what I do is I usually have things set up on my C drive. So I go all the way down here, and I have Translation Memories folder, Translation Memories 2015. I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to ask Trados to put my translation memory into that folder. Then I click Next. Then we have the fields and settings, and you can see that there are a number of options asking that Trados is asking you whether you would like the program to recognize things like dates, acronyms, alphanumeric strings. Now the default is to have most of these items checked, and so for the purposes of this assignment we're going to stay with the default settings. Now it's going to ask us about language resources, and we don't have to check anything for this screen. We can just take the defaults again. Okay, so now it's creating the translation memory and tells us that it's complete. One thing I want you to think about when you think about a translation memory is simply when you're creating a new translation memory, you're creating an empty box into which you're going to import your aligned translation segments. So if you can think of it that way, it might make it a little bit easier conceptually. Now we're going to select the source file. In the video in which I showed you how to pre-process a file for alignment, we created two files. One was a French file and one was an English language file, and right now I'm going to go get both of those files. So I'm going to browse back to my desktop, go to those files, get the French one, and then I'll browse to the same folder and get the English one. And now all I have to do is click Finish. The program is going to go through and process those files and try to line them up. And that is, line up the different translation segments. Here's what we have. We have our French on the left, we have our English on the right, and we have red lines, green lines, and yellow lines. Red lines mean, of course, the program is not quite sure whether this is correct. Green means the program is pretty certain about the accuracy of the alignment, and a yellow line means that it's somewhere in between. The other thing I want you to notice is that these lines are not solid lines. They are sort of almost like dashed lines. They're not solid green or solid red or solid yellow. I don't know if that will be clear on the video, but when you actually do this, you will notice that. There's a lot that you can say about this alignment. For one thing, the program has done a pretty good job. It says here you've got this long sentence which it believes must refer or must match up with these two sentences here that have been segmented into two translation segments, whereas the one in French has remained a single segment. And pretty much, for the most part, all of the matches are correct. Now, if we wanted to be very efficient about our work, we would just come up here and confirm all, and then we would export our alignment. But I first want to show you just a few tricks. So you can actually go in there and disconnect all, and you can go back. You can go and redo the alignment yourself. That is, do the alignment manually. How do you do that? Well, you go to this button and you select Alignment Edit Mode. And when you're in Alignment Edit Mode, you can see that you have these check boxes that allow you to check on one side and check on the other side, and then do the alignment manually. So let's go back to this first segment here, which in French is one segment and in English has become two segments. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the French one segment, and I'm going to check 1 and 2 on this side. I still want to match them up together. The program gives us an option: either connect 1 to 1 or connect N to N. So you may be connecting two French segments to one English segment, or two source language segments to one target language segment, or you could do the opposite. You could be connecting one source language segment to two target language segments. And in that case, you would select connect N to N, and let's just see what happens. Now, for the rest of the alignment, we're going to go through and connect 1 to 1. It's a little bit difficult visually, but if you look at the language, you will notice that linguistically this is the correct alignment. And we'll just go through and connect all of those with the 1-to-1 connection. There's a lot to notice about translations when you line them up with respect to the different styles and the length of the different segments. Most people think that a text in French is going to be longer than its English language version, but I believe that in this case, if you look closely, many of the French segments are actually shorter than their corresponding English version. Okay, now we've finished our alignment. Okay, we can go back out. We can go out of alignment mode. We have all green lines, and it looks like the green lines are very solid, which means all of these lines have been confirmed. So there's just one last step. We have aligned our pairs, either N to N or 1-to-1. And now we have to export those pairs into that empty box or that empty translation memory that we just created. So here's the button to do that. It says Import into Translation Memory. And we'll take the Quick Import option. And we say OK. Now it's time for us to look at our translation memory. So in order to do that, you go down here on the left side and you click on the translation memory button to bring up the translation memory pane. And up here where it says translation memories, we can just simply open a translation memory. And we're going to go back to the C drive where we saved it. We're going to go back and open that translation memory. This is what we just created, Health Exercise FR2EN, and I'll double click on it. And as you can see, it opens it up in the translation memory window. We can scroll through and look at our aligned pairs. Now we only have 18 aligned pairs, so the program is not showing us several pages of aligned pairs. It's putting it all in one page. But one thing I do want to point out is that if we had more pages, perhaps we do, let's just check. Okay, no more translation units found, but if we did have more pages, let's just say we had done an alignment of 100 translation units, then we would have several pages to go through to check our translation memory, and we would use these buttons up here to go through those different pages. Okay, so this has been a demonstration of how to import two articles or two texts into the alignment area of STL Trados Studio 2015, and then how to align those texts properly, and then how to import those aligned pairs into your translation memory. Okay, that's it for this demonstration, and I look forward to hearing back from you if you have any questions.